My name is Bryn Lartin and I'm from Queens, New York. I grew up in a single-parent household and my biological father was in and out of my life. I got to the point where in high school I told him that I just couldn't have that pain in my life anymore and that I didn't want him to speak to me anymore. And that was over 10 years ago now. So I moved to Lake Jackson, Texas 3 years ago from Queens, New York to work for the Dow Chemical Company. And when I moved here, I hated it. I cried almost every single day for 9 months and I wanted to go home. A friend of mine from work who goes to Sojourn started hanging out with him and a couple other people and some other new coworkers. And one night, this one coworker and this friend started talking about their experiences at Christian camps and going to church and growing up. I had never heard anybody talk before about God in the way that he did, and there was so much joy and affection and love. It was just something completely and totally different and real and honest. That night I went home and continued to think about the conversation and was so overwhelmed. I started crying and I didn't know why, but I had started feeling like maybe I'm missing something and I'm missing out on something really wonderful. So I didn't even know where to buy a Bible. Sorry. I ended up asking my sister where to get one, which she thought was really funny since apparently it's the most widely read book in the world. So she told me to go ahead and go to the bookstore. And I came home on the weekends and read all day. And I didn't even know why most of the time. It was emotionally overwhelming and just changing the way that I saw everything before. The questions that I had at the time, I go back now and I look and it's just really funny how I could see myself going from doubting and being critical to just accepting the story and accepting that Christ died for me and that I wasn't perfect. So after I had finished reading the New Testament, I asked my friend, okay, what next, what now? He said, well, you can come to church with me. So I said, okay. And it was unlike any church I had been to before. It was the first time that I saw people not just going through the motions of what church was and saw people feeling it and actually worshiping. And I cried. I cried through the sermon. I cried through the prayer. I was so overwhelmed with what was the church body. When I went to Lawrence Street Parish for the first time, I was overwhelmed by how real people were. They let me share my story. They let me blubber on and prayed with me and prayed for me. And I had never experienced so much love from strangers in my life. And the really amazing thing about our parish, and I'm sure most, is how different everyone is and how that doesn't matter at all because we're all the same within Christ. It got to the point where I said, yeah, I believe this is awesome. And so I decided that I needed to share this. I started telling my family, I started telling my friends. Eventually I started telling anybody who would listen to me. I had started reflecting on all the relationships in my life and all the broken family relationships, and the one that was at the top was my biological father. And I really felt compelled to write to him and share with him what's been happening in my life. And so I put pen to paper and I wrote down 5 pages worth of, I don't blame you and I love you and I know that he's struggled in his life and I have too, and that's okay, and I'm open here for him. And I've never directly heard back from him, but a month and a half later, my mom told me that she found a handwritten note on our door in Queens, and it said, Bryn is doing well. I'm leaving New York for good. Smile, be happy, Alex. And after I'd started crying, all I could do was thank the Lord for showing me and letting me know that my father saw those words, that he knows how I feel, that he knows my story and my love for him and God's love for him. It was really wonderful for me to get that confirmation. Since coming to Sojourn and becoming a Christian, it has just started to saturate my whole life. Definitely growing up, especially with my father, I'd always felt that there's something that I needed to do, and it was all on me to be this better person. And in reading the Bible, it's the complete opposite. I can't without Christ do those things. And it was overwhelming because it was just a change from thinking I had to do or I had to be, and no, Christ did and Christ was, and you just completely give into it.